Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with my 5th Raising Kanan Season 4 Theory and Prediction video of the day. This is my 10th video this week. It's only Tuesday. Y'all better stop playing with me before y'all get 40 before Friday, man. The topic of this theory is, man, why it's all Kanan's fault that Dwiz, Famous, and Krystal are dead. And by the end of the finale, Kanan will blame himself for all 3 of these people dying. And that's what will further get him to that next step of being the smart, calculated, and devilish Kanan that we know him for in OG Power, man. I'm going to explain exactly why it's Kanan's fault. I'm going to explain the arguments that people will have that suggest that it's not all Kanan's fault, and I'm going to have a counter to that and explain why it's still Kanan's fault. And it starts with Kanan and it ends with Kanan, all right? This video is, of course, going to be another banger. Come on now. Y'all know I got to feed the streets. Y'all know I'm going to go live, too, a couple times before this week is over. And I'm definitely going to go live after the season finale, y'all, and I ain't gonna lie, I might be a little bit fucked up because I'm gonna be doing some drinking, and I might, I might do a jigger or two. Like, if you from the South, then you might know what a jigger is. But I'm still gonna go live because I'm still gonna watch the episode. With all that being said, of course, like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, now, y'all, let's break it down like this. We're going to start in order of these deaths. So we're going to go from Dwiz, then we're going to go to Famous, and then we're going to go to Krystal, right? Now, let's talk about Dwiz, okay? Dwiz is dead because of Kanan. Now, if Kanan didn't get Dwiz killed, Dwiz would have ended up being some kind of menace in the street anyway. You know what I mean? Typical run-of-the-mill street dude. He would have ended up getting himself killed on his own or going to prison anyway, right? But he also would have been the person who Kanan wanted Famous to be for him in the street, right? But I'm going to explain to y'all why it's Kanan's fault that Dwiz is dead. Now, the argument with this is that it's Dwiz and Kanan's fault that Dwiz got killed, right? And from that angle, okay, but here's the thing, right? Kanan was the person who wasn't even in the game yet and decided to involve himself in grown people business. He went off of what he assumed was the situation between Rock and Unique. And he didn't know that Rock gave Unique a couple blocks, right? In order to avoid a confrontation, right? Kanan jumped out of the window. He says, hey, I want to look cool to my mom. I want to look like someone who could protect my mom. I want to look like the man, right? I want to look like the big shot. And I'm going to shoot at the people, right, who shot in the air at us, fair, right? But he still knows that Rock would have told him, fall back, don't do nothing. So he presents this situation to his people. Dwiz is Dwiz, right? Dwiz's introduction was fire. We all know that. And that's why it was crazy when he died, right? Because Dwiz was presented as this person who was down for anything, right? Like kind of a Marvin, Tommy type character, right? Down for anything. He's the person who said, okay, I ain't got no guns. My brother got guns, right? The reason why it's Kanan's fault that Dwiz is dead is because he presented the entire situation about Buck 20 that led to Buck 20's death. He presented that whole situation. He opened that whole entire door, not knowing that you in grown people business, you don't know what kind of new arrangements that they had, and he just jumped out the window, right? Not understanding the severity of the situation. So, not only that, mind you, Famous was there when that happened, right? So let's say Famous was brave enough, or let's say they had an extra gun for Famous, and Famous decided to be in that shootout with them, or Famous was even identified for being there. There's a chance that even if Dwiz survived, he would have got Famous killed even earlier, right? But anyways, like I said, Kanan presented the whole scenario to Dwiz and them that got Buck 20 killed and ended up getting Dwiz killed because Rock had to make the decision. Because Unique had enough respect for Rock, right? First of all, matter of fact, no, they turned up. But Unique had enough grace for Rock where he said, hey, the streets need a body, right? Buck 20 got his own people. The streets need a body, right? We know Kanan and Dwiz was there. One of them niggas gotta go. And Unique knew ultimately that Rock was gonna have Dwiz put down. Dwiz ended up getting put down because Rock had to make the ultimate decision. This, of course, is Kanan's fault. That's strike one. Strike two, we're gonna talk about Famous now and why it's 100% Kanan's fault that Famous is dead, okay? Now, the argument for this is people are gonna say, no, it's Famous's mother's fault. This, that, and the third, right? I'm gonna tell y'all why it's even more Kanan's fault that Famous mother did that. Famous mother is Famous mother. She not a street bitch. She did what she felt like was right to do, right? As a law-abiding citizen in the South Side of the United States of America, right? She didn't think that Famous killed someone, right? If she would have known that Famous killed someone and that he would end up being killed, she wouldn't have told the police. But here's where it's Kanan's fault. This goes two ways why it's Kanan's fault. For one, Kanan knew Famous was famous. Famous wanted to be a rapper. Famous wanted to smoke weed and deal with the girls, all right? In the hood, there's different character types. Now, sometimes it blends a little bit where there's different character types, right, in one person. But the character types in the hood is, you got the murderer, where it's like, yo, he was born to do this shit. Like, life made it so he was destined to be this person, right? You got that kind of person. You got the Freddy type, right? The robber, the extortionist, the jack boys, right? You got the guys who try to be gangster, but they ain't really like that. And ultimately, they end up dying or going to prison and realizing that that's not them, or they're lucky enough to learn from the mistakes of others. These are the people who are in Freddy's crew. And they said they ain't like Freddy anyway, and they was soft. Then you got the Famous type, which is the cool guy who really just wants to party, mess with the girls. But of course, guys like that are still cool with the Kanan type, right? Which is the other archetype, the hustler. Now, when you a hustler, you still end up doing some murdering and things like that, right? There's the 3 to 5 different character types in the hood. I know because I'm from the hood, right? Kanan didn't realize that Famous was never supposed to be in the streets in the first place. So he got Famous caught up in the streets, getting arrested more than once. Famous was expressing to Kanan, yo, like, I don't want to be this person. What did Kanan tell Famous? Nah, this is what we doing. He forced Famous to be in the game. He forced. And here's the thing, right? Rock knew Famous wasn't built like that, right? She was exploiting that fact. When Famous got kicked out of his house for slacking or getting caught with women and stuff like that, right? Rock offered to help Famous out and help pay for his rent, all of that, right? Before Famous ended up getting, what's the word I'm looking for? Desperate, and ended up killing Freddie by mistake. And we knew he wasn't built for it because you see Famous' reaction after he killed Freddie, caught his first body, versus Kanan's reaction after he killed Ronnie, versus Jukebox reaction after she caught her first body. You can see who was built for it and who was not, right? Instead of embracing the fact that his best friend and brother was not built for the game, instead of letting Famous be helped by Rock, he was so mad at Rock that you gotta understand that Kanan's anger at Rock blinded him to who Famous really was. And he didn't allow Famous to get the help that he needed or that he could have used from Rock that could have kept him afloat until he made a song and he blew up. Which would have happened if he was dealing with Lou, right? Which inadvertently, right, changed the course of Lou's life as well, right? So we may be able to say, I might have a video for me how I'm explaining to y'all how Lou's death is Kanan's fault as well, even if Kanan's not directly involved, right? This is why Famous ended up getting arrested more than once. Then he gets arrested for the murder of Freddie, and because of Famous' association to Kanan, Snaps and Pop end up having Wiley and Pickett, right, take Famous, torture him, and kill him. It's Kanan's fault. And last but not least, we got to talk about Krystal now and why it's definitely Kanan's fault that Krystal is dead, okay? First off, why was Kanan too stupid to realize that you're not supposed to have your girl too involved in your business when you dealing with so much money? It's not like he was making chump change. When you look at the amount of money that was in that chest, we talking about maybe 50 to 100 bands he playing with, right? He got workers on the street, and then he got Krystal just sitting there around OC, watching everything, knowing everything. Now, if Krystal was a foul bitch and really wanted to rob him, like people were speculating early on in the season, he opened up that window for that to happen too, which would have led to him or Jukebox having to kill Krystal. But anyways, he didn't have anyone instructing him on, yo, you're not supposed to keep your girl so close to the business. And because of her being so close to him, Krystal ends up getting killed by Pop. Now here's the thing, right? Kanan had a chance, right? He had a chance to keep Krystal safe and make sure Krystal survives, right? If he would have took it upon himself to really escort Krystal and get her out of town, made sure he got her out of town, or maybe he's on some, hey yo, listen, Uncle Marvin, can you help me? Jukebox, can you help me? Right? Or pay people in his crew, yo, listen, help me. I gotta get my girl out of here. Right? Or say, look, yo, listen, I give you some extra money. Have your family come here and pick you up. Because I'm involved in beef. I'm knee deep in beef. And I don't want to leave you out of my sight. Kanan had a final opportunity to save Krystal. He didn't realize that because he's so caught up in, yo, I'm mad at my mother and I can't take the opportunity to leave the city for at least a day or two and make sure everything is straight with my woman. Krystal's dead because of that. And these are all the reasons why it's definitely Kanan's fault. Why Dwiz, Famous, and Krystal are dead. Argue with your mama. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God gifted. That's like buying ink. That's on the cone, nigga.